welcome back to the Merck Method, where we explore mental wellness, growth, and the human experience. I want to just thank everybody for coming and listening to the podcast this morning. And if this is your first time, welcome. So I think for today's conversation, I just want to talk a little bit about the last week or so in my life. And I feel that it kind of resonates with a lot of people because I could feel let's just call it negative energy in the room. And as someone who absorbs that kind of thing, it was really starting to wear thin on me while trying to do all these other things and balance so many things that are going on right now. And I know that that really resonates with people because I know that they're trying to do this and that and everything else and trying to balance work and life and if they're going to school or new beginnings. And when you have that negative impact from the environment around you, it can take a really big toll on you mentally and physically both. And that's pretty much what happened to me last week and into this week, actually. And you can ask my friends and the people that are close to me. I take on too much stuff. My dad did the same thing. I know a lot of people that really do the same thing as well. So they tell me to kind of watch my boundaries, but they also need to do the same thing. But I am really bad at it. And because I want to try to help as many people as I can and usually try not to say no. And that will cost you. And while feeling this way, I had certain individuals that were around me have a few choice words to say that hit differently for me. And because I'm already at a vulnerable state, it really just stuck with me in a negative way. I mean, I have to tell you, I was super pissed. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And I try to be a super positive person and try to look at it from a different perspective, but it is very hard, and I know that you know this, to flip the script when you're already at that low point and then somebody just tries to kick some more dirt in your face. And it's very, very difficult, even if you're an extremely positive person, to kind of brush that off. And it takes some time. And it's taken me about a week because your words can be so powerful in a specific time frame of somebody else that's struggling. And to be fair, the majority of us are struggling with something one way or the other. And that's one of the things that I always tell people why you need to be kind to other people because you don't know what they're going through because most of the time they don't show it because they don't want to show that vulnerability. And I'm one of those people. I keep it right to the chest. Sometimes I'll show it or kind of let you know, but realistically, I try to think of it as a positive, or a learning experience. But sometimes people just hit you the wrong way at the wrong time. And these words were so disrespectful. I mean, it was more of a disappointment than anything. I mean, I was angry, but it was more of a disappointment for me. And that's actually even worse that this individual thought that it was okay to kind of say these things. And I think part of it was they did it subconsciously. But for me, when you're trying to explain something to somebody, and I'm really good at breaking things down for people if they need it and where I'm coming from because I want them to understand what my outlook is. And I didn't even get that in. It was just kind of their opinion and their voice over mine, and what I was saying just wasn't good enough. And again, when you're at a vulnerable place and you're kind of at your wit's end, and then somebody just kind of takes the legs out of you, I mean, that's pretty much about it. And I actually was like really mad at myself because what was happening now is now I'm just irritated and now I'm getting irritated and now I'm taking it home and now I'm irritating everybody else. And, that's the last thing I want to do because it's not their fault that I allowed this person to get into my head. And I started to actually question whether or not I wanted to even be in the position that I'm in. And I know that's actually not really the answer because I know what I do, I love, and I love helping individuals and I love hearing their progression and their stories on a positive level. And I love the feedback that I get on how I've helped them in any kind of way. Even the small pieces are small wins, right? And you can collect those small wins and feel good about yourself because you're the one taking control and you're the one that's making those wins happen. I just kind of guide you a little bit on stuff you already really know about yourself. But when this person said that, for whatever reason, I started to question what I'm doing. And I knew again that wasn't the answer. And that's why it's so easy to flip the script when people are just kind of coming at you with that negative. You absorb it too much. Right. I want to take a pause for a moment for you and think back to a time when this happened. A time when somebody's words or actions hit you at your lowest point, when you were down in the dumps and you just couldn't take any more, and then somebody just decided to add fuel to the fire. What did it feel like in your body? Like maybe your chest tightened, maybe it hit you in the gut, maybe your mind started to race. Did it feel like confirmation of fears you've already carried with you at some point? Like that voice in your head saying that you're not enough? Like you'll never measure up? That's what happened to me. The little voice is like, maybe you're not good enough for this. When you're vulnerable, those other people's negativity has that way of finding those cracks in your armor. This individual found that little crack in my armor, right? That doubt that I have all the time. Like I said, it's gotten better, but it seems like it's always just sitting there kicking its legs, waiting for somebody to just poke at it enough times. But here's the thing, that's not weakness. That's being a human being, right? Getting hurt by somebody else's words or their actions. It's just proof that you care, that you feel. But the danger in that is when those moments start to shape how you see yourself. That's what happened. Started to doubt myself. I mean, it took a week, and then I went back. Why did this hit so hard? Part of it is psychological. When you're under all that stress, when you're overwhelmed with trying to do all those things all at the same time, your brain becomes like hyper alert to threat. So when someone criticizes us or dismisses us, our stressed out brain interprets it as a bigger than it is threat. It sticks. Keep replaying it like a broken record. I call this emotional residue. It's that echo of what someone said that keeps circling back at 2 a.m. or when you're trying to focus. And the more burnt out you are, the more residue you carry, the more anger and frustration you get. So, what do we do when this happens? What happens when we get knocked down? The first step is simple but powerful. You acknowledge it, you sit with it. Don't pretend it didn't hurt. Denying that pain doesn't make it go away, it just buries it deeper. You got to say to yourself, that hurt me. Then practice detaching your ownership. What someone else said is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their perspective, their pain, their lack of understanding. That is not your burden. Those words are theirs, not yours. They don't have to become yours. When you feel those words sticking to you, try to reclaim your mental space. Tap out. I want you to try something right now, okay? If you're sitting down, I want you to try something. If you're not, if you're in your car or you're running or if you're not by a pen and paper, maybe think about it when you get back to that state. I want you to think of a phrase or a comment that you've been carrying, one like mine that still stings with you and you're replaying it. I want you to write it down, okay? Then next to it, I want you to write the truth. So if someone told you you're not good enough or words like that, write something maybe beside it. I'm overcome more than you know, and I'm worthy of respect. Maybe if someone dismissed your effort, write down what I do matters even if they don't see it. This exercise is like helping you clean the wound before it gets bigger. When you get knocked down, you also need to call mental first aid. You need to take a breath, really just ground yourself. And then just remind yourself that this is temporary. This doesn't stay with you. You don't give it that control. So what I did was I had to go into nature. And ironically enough, when I went into nature, I had somebody come up to me and was very much struggling and had no idea what I do for a living. And I didn't tell them, but I helped them. And to me, that just reassured that I'm in the right place. As a matter of fact, this individual said that their loved one put me there for a reason. And I believe that. And I believe you also have the power in that respect to be in the right place at the right time. The bottom line is we can't give control to these individuals that continuously come at us and are angry because they're angry for some other reasons that we have no idea why. And that doesn't mean that we can allow them to just step all over us, but we have to sit back and go, this is not a reflection of how we are, but it's a reflection of what they're really struggling with and haven't dealt with it yet. The moral of the story is we can't allow individuals that don't understand our worth, nor we take advice from these individuals and allow them to control how we think about ourselves. And that's kind of what I did for this week. And, it upset me because I allowed this to happen. And I know a lot of people do the same thing where we allow these individuals to say things one way or another, usually negative, and we feel that that reflects how we're showing ourselves to the world. And that's usually not the case. If you're trying to help other people specifically and in a good way, not controlling, but just generally trying to help people, and then you have these individuals that are just, coming and hit you in the face with a 2x4 with these comments, that's on them, not on you, right? That is something that we have to understand and take back and really just remember who we are as individuals, and we are good. We just need to be kind to ourselves as well as other people and continue to hope that they, start to speak kind to themselves and really work on what's really struggling, because what they're doing is they're not taking care of themselves, and then it's just continuing to grow and build, and then it just explodes on someone or the wrong comments come out, and you really don't understand how truly impactful that can be. I have really come to realize the impact that I am having with hopefully all of you listeners and individuals that aren't necessarily listening to this podcast, and a lot of my clients and just friends and just strangers even, where they trust me in listening to the words that I'm saying. And it's not telling that I know everything, but I am one who a lot of times can feel your pain, whether I've been through it or it's just by happenstance. I somehow can feel individuals and their struggles on some kind of level. And it's allowed me to connect with the people that I'm helping. And that gives me purpose. That is my purpose. I have found what I'm supposed to be doing. And there's a lot of times what people tell me, and I've actually posted it a few times, where when you're getting hit left and right and all over in between, you're ready to level up. And I feel like this is that key point, but it can be very, very exhausting. But I'm not going to stop trying to help individuals because I feel that with maybe reaching one person a day and allowing themselves to understand that they also have purpose, they also have meaning in their life, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel if they have struggles, is a win. And then that little win might actually help somebody else that they come in contact with. And that's how it works. We're just trying to get through what we call this life and really just trying to, make it. And we're all in this together. We really are. We're connected in some way, shape, or form, whether or not you stay in someone's life and you make a huge impact, or you come into someone's life, you might say the wrong thing, and then it's a learning experience, and then you learn from it and move forward. Technically, that's still purpose, right? I have been extremely blessed with the people that surround me on a day-to-day basis. My family is top notch. I mean, I would take a bullet for every one of them. But I've also surrounded myself with really good, really solid, good people, right? Good hearts. It makes a big difference on what kind of environment you sit in because when it starts to get negative, it starts to get dark. And then you start to absorb it and then you go down that rabbit hole. Nobody wants to do that. We've got so much other stuff to worry about, right? Like going to the grocery store and who's cleaning and who's doing the dishes and who's picking the kids up and who's taking them to soccer practice and, every other practice and baseball practice. And, you know, we need to breathe, but we also have to be kind for ourselves and surround ourselves with people that feel the same way. And we have to be easy on ourselves because there'll be other people that don't feel that way and are struggling and don't know how to acknowledge it and they're going the other direction. And sometimes you rise up above that and use your kindness to help them, and maybe that pushes them in the right direction. Who knows? But it's worth a shot because we don't want to keep giving negative to other people, because they've already got enough negative probably in their life we don't even know about. So let's try to flip the bill. You can only control your own thoughts and how you reflect them. So why not make them positive? It's less draining, makes you feel good, and it makes the people that are around you feel good too. And you know what? Then maybe they'll do that to other people and so on and so forth. We got to make this a pattern. One of my colleagues was reading one of my job descriptions and it said to be a role model for the company as well as the people that we talk to. I don't necessarily feel like myself as a role model, but I do try to hold myself to a standard of trying to be as good as possible to other people because, like I said, nobody knows their struggles if they're not going to show them. You don't know what you don't know. So I don't want to add more stress to somebody's life if I can help it, right? And I do have that control. It's how I reflect each and every day. And like I said, when I said it in the beginning, where I got frustrated and annoyed, and then I started to be that annoyance, and I brought it home with me, and then I started to annoy everybody there. And, you know, my wife stopped that right away, and but in a nice way. She's like, this is bad energy. You need to figure this out. And you need that person. I need her to tell me these things because sometimes you get caught up in a lot of these things. And, it was just too much. But it was one of those learning experiences. So I'm thankful that she showed that to me and flipped my mindset. And that's what I tell everybody all the time. It's about your perspective and your mindset. And that's what we got to keep going with. We got to keep it on the positive. Can't allow these people to infiltrate our positive thinking because it's very, very easy to go straight to negative. So as we get closer to the end of this, I want to just leave you with something today, okay? You will get knocked down. That's really not the question of this. It's reality of life, right? But when you're burnt out, those falls feel harder. But being knocked down isn't the end of this, okay? You are not defined by what that person said about you, by what someone else failed to see in you. You are defined by the fact that you got up. You overpowered their negative thoughts and went a different direction. So, like when you feel your breaking point is coming, just listen to this, okay? Just because someone tried to diminish you doesn't mean you're small. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you're weak. You are capable of standing back up one step at a time. If all you can do today is breathe, that's still progress. Tomorrow you'll take another step, and soon you'll be stronger than you thought all along. I want to just thank everybody for listening to this podcast episode. As always, I greatly appreciate every single one of you. And if something like this resonated with you and you think that somebody else is kind of struggling with this, let them listen to it. Tell them where it's at. We're just trying to help each other out. All right. So as I leave you always, again, I leave you with this. Stay grounded, stay kind to yourself, and remember, strength begins with honesty. Until next time.